Welcome, Love Tap members. Once again, it is Austin Williams, your sage, your coach speaking. Great to have you guys here once again. I had a lot of fun making the handler reset cut video, and I figured, since I wasn't at practice today due to the sickness, I figured I'd make up for it by making the handler cut vert stack video. This time don't have synthwave, got a little lo-fi for you. It's Zelda and chill. Very big, exciting things planned for tonight. Definitely stay tuned. I will post just the individual ulti-play if you guys want to look at that, and if you don't like my voice, but I'll go ahead and post this separately. Alright, big cuts vert stack. Big. I put the word big in there to really emphasize the importance of these big cutter cuts. Also, sorry if I clear my throat during this presentation. I'm down with the sickness, you know what I mean? I've gotten better with the keybinds, so we won't run into any trouble. We'll just sort of run right through this puppy. Alright, what do we got here? What do we got? Vert stack. Vert stack right in the middle. Last time, handlers were these guys. Okay. This video will focus now on the ones I excluded from last time. These puppies. These guys right here, okay? Their main job is to use this space. Okay? They use this space to get open. Okay? Get open so this guy can throw it to you, or use this space for a continuation. After this guy throws it, there's another guy, and there's another guy, and there's another guy. Okay? Think 3 steps ahead. It's like playing chess. I got a knight e4. Okay, this is my knight. I got a rook bottom rank. Okay. I got the enemy king over here, Holy smokes, I cannot draw that. You got 3 pawns protecting the king. He moves this front pawn up here. That means he can try to escape. Horse already there. I got the rook over here. Checkmate. Okay? This guy was needed for the checkmate. Look how far away he is. Okay? Alright, enough chess analogies. But the point is to think a few steps ahead of your cuts. Use that to your advantage. Pay attention to where you are in the field. Don't just give up after one cut, after one check cut, and then say, you know what, I give up, I'm going back into the stack. But hopefully this little presentation will open your eyes to something very important. Very important. So with the handler video, I said give and goes, and I said cut timing a lot. Okay? For the cutter scenario, give and goes aren't necessarily the biggest thing. Instead, replace give and go with continuation and cut timing. Notice how both of them require cut timing. Cutter specifically, because if you make cut timing work, the rest is easy. I don't even need to show you anything. I just need to say, just cut your time. Not cut your time. Make your cuts at a good time. Yeah, you can make an awesome cut, but if it's at the worst time, it's completely useless. Alright? Hopefully this presentation will really embellish that idea. So we're going to go through some plays, specifically when we start getting creative with the mid-vert stack and on the break side. how to maximize your effectiveness as a cutter. Remember, that's with continuation and using everything in your arsenal to get open. Remember, a cutter. I'm sorry, let me not draw on the defense guy. And also remember, gray is defense, green is offense. If I'm cutting, okay, check cut to the open side. I can check cut to the break side. Hell, I could even cut to the break side. I could do break side, 7 cut across. Remember, after your check cut, you can go back to the stack. You can come across here to the break side. After break side, you can go deep. Okay. Where else? You could just go deep, break side. Maybe cut back across here. You can rather go in, or you can come back to the break side. You know, I can go on all night about where you can go. The important thing is you don't always have to go in on the open side, or always go to the deep side on the open side, and then, you know, just come in casually. You don't, those are not the only 2 options, even though we heavily enforce you guys get down with doing this. The main reason is that this angle right here. Okay. It's more important to make a sharp cut when you're cutting than to just run anywhere on the field. Now the break side's a little exception, because remember, you have a little step on your guy, so you're already in front. The purpose of that check is to really throw that guy off so you're a step ahead of him. Okay? Don't let him know you're going to change direction super quick, and even if he's ready, you know, you're still setting yourself up for success, because it's a bit hard to really time that exactly. That's just good defense. Alright, enough blabbering. Let's go ahead and play a little bit of this, just so you guys know what to expect. So what you'll see here, first example, basic rotation. After the first example, we're going to add a little bit of spice. Notice how the handler's not going to throw anything. Don't worry, if it gets a little complicated here shortly, I'm gonna break it down step frame by frame here. But just notice the flow, notice where everyone is after someone sees someone. Let's go ahead and pause right there. Let's bring it back to center. So that was sort of midfield, pretty much all there is to vert stack. Alright. We can turn off this video now and say goodnight. No. Let's go through it frame by frame. Let's see why I animated it in that way, why I chose to do all that junk. And you'll see the beauty behind my thought process. And also be aware, once you're looking at this, like, imagine you're in the stack, be aware of the people around you, your other cutters. Be aware of everyone else, okay? Know where they are on the field, who's still in the stack, who's not, okay? Always be aware of that. So let's start cranking through here. First example. We're all probably used to this by now. Let's run through it one more time. Two more times. That'll be good. Here is specifically cut timing. Note 7's going. The moment he chooses a direction and commits, 6 is going. 7's already pretty much done with his cut. 6 is now making his cut. 5's watching 6. Also trying to make note of what 7's doing. 4 is watching 5 and 6, not necessarily 7. 4 is sort of paying attention a little bit to the handler in case it comes break side. Okay, that's your basic rotation of a vert stack. That's probably what we've been drilling since you guys have started learning about Frisbee. But there's a whole lot more you can do with just this rotation. You can add different directions. You can add 2 at a time. You can add 3 at a time. And we'll go over each of those. So I won't spend too much time looking at this guy. I want you to note the difference here whenever we add some spice to it. So this is pretty much beyond the normal. Notice 7 kind of pushes in first. 6 is sort of going. So if 7 goes in the negative direction, it's a good indicator that he's probably going to go deep. And notice how far in he comes. It's not a little one step this way. It's like a good 5 to 6 steps this way. He might even be open, but if he even turns here, he's super open because 6 can then fill. Let's have that play out. Boom. Okay. 7 fakes in. 6 is going out. They swap. 6 recognizes 7's going deep, so 6 comes in. Notice how they both don't go deep. If 6 continued here deep, one that's just a poor cut, he's not going to be open. If he wanted to go deep here, you got to go in a negative direction. You have to. You can go here, or 6 could have started going negative here. Okay? And then gone deep. He could have also swung around here and then gone deep. But because 6 is sort of committing deep first, that indicates he's probably going to come in. The defender definitely should know that that's going to happen. But even if he knows, it's still pretty hard to guess when he's going to turn. And if he's a split second off, 6 is in the lead. And 6 is coming in hot, so he stays in front. Okay? Now, if 6 decided to come in whenever 7 was, like at the same time, you can start going deep. And then if 7 sees that 6 when he turns around here, sees that 6 is already deep, 7 can just come back into the stack. Okay? So again, if 7 came in, 6 was like, I'm going to go deep. Just, he just wants to. That's totally fine. Remember, negative direction, turn, boom. Okay, that's a check cut. 6 going deep. 7 decides to go deep. C6 back there. Just come back into the stack. Not totally like right here, right in the 5's path. Sort of this way. And then fill back in here. Okay? You don't want 7 to just run into 5, because 5's probably going to be doing one of these. Okay? So when 7's coming back, recognizes, just come across. The main goal here, on the open side, is just think about not blocking somebody. That's the whole point of the open side. You're coming in, you're not blocking anybody. But if so whoever comes in the space first, you have priority. If a handler's coming in, they have priority. Anyone that's farther in front here, closest to this handler, has priority. So if a handler came in when 7 was coming in, 7 can rather go back to the stack or go deep. Alright? Now, throughout this presentation, I'm not going to show any handler movement, but I want you to keep that in mind. Okay, let's continue. 6 comes in, 7 goes deep. Notice how 4 and 5 are inching back. 3 is not moving. 3 is not moving. He is watching this guy. He is paying attention to what this guy's doing because he's going to come this way, and remember, he's going to go up line, one of these, and then he's going to move, bam, fill. Okay? Also, 3 is paying attention. If it comes over here, he's first on the break side. He's always first. If a cutter's coming in and you block him off, I don't care. That's totally fine. 3 is the easiest one to hit here. Again, if a cutter's coming in, recognizes that 3 comes in front, you can rather fill back in, turn around, bam. Because if you're going deep, it lets this space open for another guy. Alright? Sorry, there's a lot of arrows I'm drawing here. Alright, let's continue with this example. 7 went deep, 6 came in. Where does 6 go? Where does 7 go? Okay. Let's think about it. 6 is sort of in a good spot to go here. 7, best spot is there. 7 doesn't necessarily want to come back this way. The only time he would come back in this way is if 5 was going in and got a continuation pass. So if 5 caught it here, that's a good time for 7 to come in. But notice how you cannot start that early. You literally have to wait until 5 catches it, and then 7 comes in. So 7 can slowly be moving to the break side. It doesn't have to be immediate. You don't have to be sprinting. This is your cooldown phase. And also remember, all these cuts are at 100%. I'm going to emphasize this again later in the presentation, but if your cuts are not at 100%, you're in cooldown mode. You're sitting in this stack, catching your breaths, catching up with your stamina. If everyone is tired, then that's called a good game right there. That's a good match, because then you gotta let the handlers do their magic. Okay. Don't be making half-assed cuts whenever you're up. Okay, especially on the open side. You can cheat a little bit on the break side, but you got to be ready for when that throw comes in, because when that throw's out, you're 100%. Alright, like we said, 6 is going to fill, 7's going to go break side, 5 can cut. Seven's now on the break side, 5 is open, he has all this space for himself. He can start cooking. 4 recognizes he went in. Notice what 4 does. 4 recognizes that 5 is committed inwards. So 4 is going to go in the negative inward and then push outward here. Okay? Now see what 7's doing. He's coming down the break side. He's letting this throw be seen. Okay, that's a good opportunity to get a break off. Let's go ahead and continue. Notice how 6 hyped up. He's still ready to go. He notices 4 commits going deep. So 6, bam, he chooses in. Alright. Notice how 7 comes back into the stack. You'll see more examples of what you can do on this side, on the break side. Okay. There's a few things you can do on the break side once you're here. Here, 7 came back into the stack, but you can also cut across here. And remember, if you're cutting, this is the only time you're allowed to actually get in this lane here. Alright, it's a very good play to hit someone here as they're coming across here. It's not good to come from the middle of the stack and do the same thing. It's a little harder to hit, it's not as advantageous, and you're also closer to the cutters, so they can't really recognize if someone's coming. It's also harder to see these people in the stack as you're running in. So you can't really see them blocking you off, and it might just piss you off whenever you see someone from the middle of the stack coming to block your lane. But if you're here, you have a lot more room to work with. it's easier for this guy to see you off the corner of his eye as you're coming across here, and then he can hit you open space here. If there's a cutter coming at the same time, it's easier to see this guy. He's closer to the handler. It's sort of mocking out an upline if this guy isn't already doing that. So same applies to 7. If 2 is here doing an upline, 7 doesn't need to do an upline also. 7 can just come back to the stack. Or go back deep, because this guy might catch it. And this is a very nice throw. Alright? So note how I just ran through a few examples of where people can go and like sort of actions you're making, and why you want to do that versus some things that you might not want to do. Okay? Let's continue. Alright, where are we? Alright, 5 and 7 come back into the stack. 6 cooking, 4's cooking. 4 goes break side, 5's coming in. 7 goes in and then out after 5 goes in. 4 did exactly what I just described there. He goes to the break side and then quickly he's doing a little 7 cut. Boom, there's his 7. Okay. Now for the handler reset, you might have noticed we did one of these. Notice how both are very viable. Very powerful as well. Also, cutting break side really throws off the defender because they're not totally ready for it. Because you're open here. And they're trying to be like, oh, I'm trying to cover and I'm trying to cover. And then you cut across, which is like very unusual when you're here, because you're sort of shuffling as a defender here. So your back is sort of turned, so you have to turn 180 degrees here if you're a defender. But if you're running as the offense player, you're turning 90 degrees and going this way. So it makes him sort of turn a bit more. If the defender has his waists sort of the same as yours, so he's also facing the same direction, that gives you ample opportunity to just do 180 and be wide open. Okay, a defender should be sort of shuffling here, or a semi-side run. Okay, strafe, as we call it, because he has to look at you but also run sideways at the same time. Okay, very viable here. If 4 were to catch it here, think about what 7 and 6 can do. If 4 were to catch it, 7 has a few options. He could try to come in. 6 was already starting his cut. He could start coming in and then go deep. So once 7 catches it, 6 is now open. But that does require being aware of where 7 is when you're 6. Okay? Let's continue. So in this example, 7 goes break side, 4 clears back into the stack, 6 comes in. An important thing I want to explain here. 6 did a little curl cut. Why did he do that? All the examples up until now were just straight lines. The purpose of the curl, and this is not the same as doing this. So if 4 was cutting, this is not the curl cut I'm talking about. The curl cut I'm talking about when I draw it from the start. Imagine 4 is going. He's going in a negative direction, turns, curls towards his outside shoulder. Because remember, if this guy's throwing it, he's going to be throwing it towards your outside shoulder. It's very easy to catch. It also helps to get a little bit in front of the defender. Makes it hard for him to get around. He has to go a farther distance around you. Pretty much both directions. He can't go around this way, so he's forced to come around this way. Think of an airplane. Okay. This only applies to the little curl cut. An airplane's wings designed like this. So more air travels underneath because it has to travel less distance. Okay. Which really pushes the plane upwards. Generates an upward force. While this air comes around slower. So more air is coming underneath. And it pushes the plane up. So imagine your defender is trying to really get around to block that throw. Because you're curling that end of the cut. Okay. But if you're coming in straight, it's a bit easier to defend. Take a look. Bottom of the plane, your defender. The end of your cut, the defender has to go farther distance. You can also box them out pretty well. So that's pretty nice. Another reason for that, it's a little hard to hit somebody as a handler if you're going in a straight line sort of towards the handler. So you don't always want to just run towards the handler. You also don't want to just run sideways. Okay? You want a little mix of both. But at the end of your cut, that's where the throw is going to go off, and you want to give yourself enough space here to catch it. Okay? So you're coming in, he throws it. You have space to use this field here. Okay? So that's the purpose of the curl cut. Alright, let's continue. 7's on the break side. 6 just did a fat in cut. Looked pretty nice. 5 is already going. 5 goes break side. 6. What did 6 do? Look at that. 6 comes in with a nice curl cut. He's not finished. He wants to come straight across, doing a 7 cut. But this time we're on the open side to the break side. Previously we were on the break side to the open side. Alright. 5 decided to go break. 7, notice what 7 did. 7 recognizes that 5 went to the break side. So 7 can definitely come back to the open side. Because he can provide the continuation after 4 gets it. So 7's not going to try to rush in front of 4. 7 is sort of slowly coming back this way. Still stretching it deep in case it ever comes deep. You know, maybe stall 9 or stall 8. This guy's going to launch it. It's always good to just have one guy there in case, you know, he can catch it. So there's no rush for 7 to really get back into the stack here. He can sort of wait for a continuation pass. He's thinking 2 steps ahead. Okay? So even if you're not in the stack and you're sort of deep, this doesn't really apply for when you're, you know, in the hot zone. You don't need to rush back in. This is your cool down phase when you're deep. But once you start committing back to a cut, you're back in it. Alright? But it's still good to stretch the defense. Oh, I typed some stuff up there, my bad. 5 went break side, 4 is sort of going. Let's see what they do. 4 comes in, does a nice little curl. 6 sort of just fills back in because he sees 5 already going the break side. 7 sort of, you know, doesn't really know what to do quite yet because he sees 5, he sees 4. He's like, anyone that gets it, he's looking right at him. Okay, he has QB vision. Anybody played Madden 2009? QB vision. He's looking right at 4. You can see 5. If 5 catches it, 7's here. Okay. If 4 catches it, 7's here. All right. I don't have the disc getting tossed here. It's sort of purely running example. I didn't want to add too many of actual throwing because I'd have to be resetting the play every time, but I want you guys to just understand there's a lot of different things you can do here. Okay, you can be as creative as you want, and I sort of got creative when I was making it. Okay, let's see how this plays out. Another thing. 4 maybe starts to run this way a little bit. 5's like, you know what, I don't want that. They're going in the same direction. They're going to hit each other if they come here. Alright. Now they could run past each other, so an option is, you know, 5 comes a little bit in front, 4 comes a little bit in the back. That's definitely viable. But just definitely make sure you don't collide with each other. That will result in a pick. And do remember, a pick is when the defender is playing honest defense on somebody, but they happen to run into something or something runs into them. And they just yell pick, and it stops the play and they get set back up. Alright. But here in this example, 4 comes just back into the stack. 5 could also come back into the stack. 4 could also go here. 5 could also go here. Alright. Or 5 could even go back this way. He can really play. When you're on the break side, you can really get fancy. You can, because this is sort of, you're setting up for the continuation. Or you're providing essential help here. Whenever this guy's not doing an upline. Now remember, 5 does not do this if 2 started doing his upline. Okay. Now if that went off, that didn't work. 5, do not run this way. So 2 just made an upline here. 5 does not run this way. Why? Why? Okay. Remember this guy. This guy. After this guy fails at an upline, this guy is filling to the break side. So 5 in that scenario would just fill back in. Okay. Also on this side, you don't need to clear back into the stack as fast as you need to on the open side. The reason we clear fast back into the stack here, this guy is still looking. That's still a viable cut if you went this way. But back into the stack, because there's people coming in behind you. Alright? You want to open up that lane. 5's a little bit more loose. Alright? He's on the break side. You can come in slowly. Alright, but this example, 4 goes back to the stack, 5 comes across, does the 7 cut, 7 is coming in hot. Remember, if 7 came in too close, you can just turn back around and go deep again. 7 could also just clear back into the stack. I've probably been repeating myself about 100 times about what they can do. And it's usually going deep or back into the stack, except for when you're here or here, which is you just go across. You can traverse the bridge of Terabithia right here. Okay. And then over here is the bridge of Khazad-dûm. Maybe it's a bit skinnier than that, but it's whatever. It's a bridge you can cross into the other side. Okay. Let's continue. So that was quite a lot. There wasn't any action with the disc. It was sort of just not handler movement, cutter movement. Give me 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. Where was I? There's a lot of cutter movement, no handler movement. So in that whole example, we are on, how long has this been? 30 minutes. So that's stall pretty high. Okay. we're way past stall 10. So you won't realistically see all that jumbledness going on. You'd probably see about 2 cutters first, and then a handler will start moving. Okay. So for the next examples is sort of combining. So beforehand it was sort of one person at a time, one person at a time, one person at a time, one. But notice you don't have much time to really wait for everybody. That's like a good 2 seconds. That's a good 2 seconds. You're on stall 4 by now. Generally it's stall 4 or 5 if you're looking at a dump cut. So this third guy won't even be seen. At this point, 1's turning his ass around looking at 2. And then 2 starts to do his upline cut. You're at stall maybe 7 here. 4 clears. 2 gets it on the open side here. Okay. So notice how many handlers or cutters just went by. So if you go one at a time, this is generally a better strategy here. Is sort of you have one guy coming in, one guy going deep. Generally at about the same time. Kind of want that lane to be available at all times. But obviously, if not, set it up nicely. Make it quick. If you start itching towards the brake side, you're getting ready for like maybe a swing. You're getting ready for a continuation pass if it goes up the field, and then you can turn around. But it does take a lot of time for people to sort of cycle through. So the next few examples will be sort of just getting a little creative here. If we want to, you can go ahead and read these if you like. I added some additional comments. And also it's pretty much what I just said about really thinking about being intuitive, a few moves beyond the initial cut to think about where it could end up, where you could be to really make it continue. But for these next few examples, let's get a little bit creative. Here I'm discussing in these comments is sort of when you're tired, make sure you just stay in the stack. Don't make cuts that are very lazy, and just don't do this cut at 100%. Oh, I'm stupid. Don't make this cut at like 20%. Yes, make it at 100%. That is a correction. So this is a 100% cut. If you're not feeling at 100%, don't do it. Alright. This is 100%. The only time it's not 100% is when you're sort of clearing to the brake side, coming down the brake side. Maybe even here it doesn't need to be 100%. Also coming back in from the brake side. However, doing this guy, that's 100%. Alright, clearing back into the stack is 100%. Hundo. So the 100% area here. The relaxing scenario. Oh, let me include. Is here. Little yin yang. Okay, you need both. And here is me explaining pretty much each cutter is taking turns. But you can have 2 cutters go at the same time. This really throws off defenders because they're expecting you to be at the back of the stack before they sort of get ready. Because the defenders themselves are also getting tired, so it's definitely a game of who has more stamina, who can maintain their speed. Okay. So let's run through an example where there's double cuts. So 6 and 7 are sort of doing the same thing at the same time. 7 inches towards the brake side, 6 inches towards the open side at the same time. They both come in at the same time. Alright, we've seen this scenario before. Alright. I haven't seen this scenario quite often during our scrimmages, but this is definitely a scenario I'd like you guys to reach. Where you have action on both sides of the field, giving these guys an option everywhere. Okay, this is also known as the zipper play. Zipper is a bit more helpful on the up here, but we'll go over that shortly. Okay. Spank does this play a lot. Super helpful. 7 will come across and get it here. It's just the defender on 7 here is really having a hard time keeping up, because usually when people go the break side, the defender doesn't play as honest as they do when they go to the open side. You also have like a leg up going to this side anyway. Sorry, I drew a little additional thing here. So he's like, oh crap. It's sort of a little poachy. Not really trying too hard because you know he's trusting the mark that he's going to cover that. But when this guy goes 100% here, this guy's like, oh shit. Notice how 7 is in front. When I say in front, I mean he is the closest guy to the thrower. Okay, so in front, 7's now behind. That's a wide open throw. I don't care who you are. There's no way 7 can somehow get in front and then leap and get that. That's impossible. Unless he's absolutely insane. Which I know some of you will be. And are. Or have it within you that I've seen. And it'll grow to insanity. Alright. 7 cuts across. Nice, easy. Boom. 4. Coming in. Let's play it out. Whoop. Oh, oops. Alright, 4 comes in. Let's say 7 gets it here. 4 came in a little too close. He can go deep after 7 gets it. 5, notice 4 goes deep, can come in. Okay, it's cakewalk. Alright. But here they both come into the stack. And then 6 and 5 go at the same time. Same example again. Alright. So that's 2 cuts at the same time. You guys can easily do that. But let's keep going. Let's do 3 at a time. See how creative we're getting here? If you guys really want to run this, you got to communicate it beforehand. Build synergy with your other cutters. Know what they want, what they like. Talk it out before the point even starts, because this is sort of like a start at the point kind of thing. So that's this little zipper play is very strong to start off. Starting play, it's beautiful. Another one I just sort of made up is 3 at a row. I thought about it and I was like, yeah, this is doable. But remember, 3 at a time is high chance of a pick. You don't want these guys getting mixed up. Okay? So what's a way 3 can go at once? What's a way? Okay, this guy trickles this way. This guy trickles this way. This guy trickles this way. Okay? This guy can continue deep. This guy can cut in. This guy's already in. This shouldn't really cause a cut or a pick. If you're afraid that if 5 comes in here and then 5 runs into 6, 5 can also come straight out first, pull his guy away from the stack, do a little square cut. That's also very viable. 7 should be safe because 4 is backing up to cover the offensive 4 as he comes this way. So he's going to be pushing this way. So as this guy comes across, this guy's coming in. This guy could get it. This guy could come deep or come back there, and this guy could come across here. Alright. He could also pull back in here. There's a lot of things they can do here. But the purpose of 3 at a time is you get 3 guys. Sorry. You get 3 guys going right off the bat. So anywhere this guy throws at the start, one of them is going to land. This guy can throw it anywhere and know that one of these guys is going to get it. That's pretty powerful. Don't even give this guy time to even say stall 1. Okay? Trust. Hey, I know the moment I say stall 1, someone's going to go break side. Boom. Someone's already there. Okay? Like the moment you come to tap in, go backhand, bam. You can hit 5. Or, you know, the moment he says stall 1, I'm already throwing it. Of course, you don't need to do that, but, you know, you see what I sort of mean when it comes to synergy. Like that's where team trust comes in. Example. If I see Alex, speedy boy, I see him sprinting, and he's going this way, I'm going to overshoot it on purpose. Okay? If I see Norm coming in this way, I'm going to overshoot it on purpose. Because I trust he will get it. And believe me, I trust Norm. You know, he's a machine. Now, Alex, I need a little bit more time, but I see the potential. Alright? But that comes with playing with each other. That's the beauty of it. Let's continue. So there's 3 at once. Oh, sorry. Let's go ahead and play it again. Okay. Just like I drew up. Notice how 7 sort of pushes towards break side a little bit to pull its defender away from the pick. 5 also does the same. And 6 moving back to the stack. Okay, look at that. You have a player in every inch of the field. Right off the get-go. Okay? I haven't really seen anything like this be done before at a scrim. Let me just play it a few times. This is a very viable thing to do. And if I see you guys run one of these, I'm going to be real excited. Because 1, it tells me that you watch this video, and 2, it tells me you're creative enough to just give it a shot. Okay? Notice how this looks very different from what I showed you at the very start. But it's a bit amped up. Okay? Notice what happened here. What's happening here? 4's coming in. Maybe 5 gets it. He recognizes that 5's coming across. Bam, right back into the stack. 7. Take a look at 7. He inched over to the break side. Came across to the open side. Very viable 7 cut into an in cut. 6 can see 7, because generally when you're about to go, you're sort of facing this direction. But at the start of the stack, you're sort of this direction. The farther you get back in the stack, you're facing this direction. Okay? With your eyes sort of looking for this guy off the corner of your eye to see if it gets swung here or, you know, gets over there. Alright. Let's continue. Take a look here. 4 recognizes 5's coming across. 6 about to come in. 7 already in good position to come in. 7 comes in, 6 fakes, goes deep. 7 comes in, 6 goes deep. 5 could easily hit 7 here. 6 is now available for 7 if he throws it. Okay? So it's a lot of just timing your cuts. Okay? Alright. That concludes sort of just the middle of the field, the basic cutting vert stack. If you don't want to see the break side or the open side, you can stop the video now. But if you want to stick around, They're not going to be as long as what I just showed you. Just keep what I just showed you in mind anywhere on the field, because that's all you have to work with. The vert stack's pretty much always in the center, regardless if it's over here or over here. It might shift a little bit, but it's generally still in the middle of the field. Alright? And then for these few examples, I'm going to have actually the thrower throw it, and you'll see why I sort of do that, because I want you guys to see. Let me move that over a little bit. There we go. I want you guys to actually see like where the cutter ends up and why you sort of want that to happen. Okay, versus something else. So your basic break side cut looks like this. But important thing here is it's a little hard to hit someone on the break side because they're generally running directly at one. Sometimes they run straight this way, and it's still a little hard to hit them. So generally, you want to throw as the thrower into this space that's right here. Okay. You shouldn't have to worry about this guy. He should be looking at his defender. Alright, he might be doing a side view, which is also good. But it should be still far enough away that you can hit this guy as he curls his cut in. This is the time where curling your cut is allowed. It's not allowed here. Alright, that's a no-no. It's a fat cut there. Throw goes off here. Let me use a circle there instead. Let's do a star. Throw goes off here. You're curling to catch it here. Okay. Let's have that play out. Boom. Alright. I know it looks like 4 slows down here, but it just, imagine he's maintaining the same speed all the way up to here. Alright. You want 4 to get it in the midfield here. You wanted to get it off the sideline. Okay. I also show it here where that doesn't happen. Let's say you just sort of throw it right at him. One, if it goes a little bit to his left, it's going to be hard to catch. Another thing is you're still on the break side if that happens. So it's still sort of, you need to get it to the center of the field. Alright. So let's run through another fella. We're going to run the zipper play. It looks like this. Notice what 5's doing. Notice what 5's doing. Notice what the handlers did here too. Notice there's 2 handlers back. One is going to say I'm through. Come to the front. Notice how 3 is also handling. That doesn't mean he turns into a cutter here. I sort of didn't really hit that idea with the handler video, but notice how there's 2 handlers in the stack now. So here 4 come back into the stack, 1 fills. Okay. Or 1 will act as the fill. He wouldn't immediately fill after 4 got out of there, because 2's already has a dump cut. Alright. But 7 would want to look for rather a continuation pass or dump it quickly. And 2 would do his usual handler reset cuts. Alright. Not going to spend too much time talking about that. But there you have it. Notice how the zipper play is a good opportunity to get it on the midfield. And then you just perform your basic midfield stuff. 5's ready to go deep. And you already have another guy coming in. Even if 4 doesn't get it here, this guy can send it to 5. And then 4 would swap with 5's doing here. So let me just draw that out real quick. So 1 could hit 5 here. So 5 could be coming in. 1 hits 5. 4 is coming in. Notice his 5 catches it. He can rather come back into the stack or go deep. Okay. Notice how your options here are come back into the stack or go deep. But notice how that going deep is sorta on continuations. If neither of them were able to get it, 4 would come over here, 5 would come over here. If they still couldn't get it, 5's safe to go deep. He can also go back into the stack, but 4 would just go back into the stack. Okay, because there's someone coming in over here. All right. Now again, you're safe to go this way because you're sort of going up the break side. It's not you're not really getting covered by anyone. You're not in anybody's lane because they're coming here. Okay, this is their lane. It's not being blocked at all. That's an easy throw to hit here. Maybe a little lobber here, you know. So it's a lot of thinking about those kind of things when you're on the field. Easily drawn out here on the board, of course, but some things you always want to keep in mind. So here's this example played out. There it is. Notice how 4 gets behind 3, who was setting the stack. 1 stays until 7 is through. 2 stays as a dump gun unless 7 looked at him and does, you know, I've said it 100 times now. Alright. Last example on the open side. And surprising or not, it's not any different from the midfield. Okay. It's nothing too fancy. I just put in a quick example here. But important with on the open side. Now imagine everything I showed you at the beginning. That's still very viable. You go break side, you go open side, you do 7 cuts across the mid, you clear back into the stack, you go to deep, you come break side, you slowly trickle in, you know, on the break side, you come across. Alright? If you're on the open side like this, a good path for something like a hammer throw, if someone goes break side here, a good throw to make that's incredibly hard to defend and also a little hard to throw, but if you can throw it, it's called a hammer. This is the best place to throw it because you're sort of throwing across the field. You want the wind to sort of help carry it. So the wind generally with a hammer wants to be blowing a little bit this way, a little bit downfield, off your shoulder. So as it flies, it gets pushed this way. Okay. Hammer, whenever the wind is blowing right at you, it's a little harder. So if the wind's blowing this way, that's a little tough because the open side of the disc is sort of facing this way, and it really pushes the disc up high and causes it to drop down like this, and then it just flips around. Alright, so that's no bueno. However, if you can still pull it off, you can definitely still do that. It's also like almost impossible to cover if you're a defense, and it's very easy to see the disc coming in when you're 6. Alright. You could also even do that when you're in midfield and someone goes break. It's an easy break throw. Okay. Now I say easy because, you know, once you do it a few times, you sort of get good at it. I've seen a few of you throw a nice hammer. If you can do that, do it. I don't like when people get mad because people try to throw that. If it's a good look, I will be happy that you threw it. Even if it's sort of a terrible throw, that's the sort of place you want to be looking. Don't just be looking in the open lane. You have this whole field to look at. Okay? I want nice, good field awareness so your QB vision's looking something like this. Okay? I want you to be Peyton Manning on the field. The best QB vision in the game. Alright? That's what that will look like if it's a hammer. Other than that, there's nothing much more to talk about. If you guys have any questions, any concerns, any ideas, maybe you disagree with something I said, let me know. This was sort of just based off my own knowledge. I know there's no one here to ask me any questions or anything like that. And I'm sorry this one was a little bit longer than the handler cut resets, but this one was just to keep drilling the idea that you have full creative freedom to do what you want as a cutter, but you just need to do it with good cut timing, cut timing, cut timing, and continuation. Both are pretty much the same thing, but you know, continuation is more like after the throw goes off. Good cut timing will get you that continuation. Okay. Now, it was a bit hard to visualize sort of the two mixed together, handler and cutter, but imagine they are now mixed into one. Notice how some of the cuts I showed you won't really play out as fast as they were sort of animated on the screen here. So just be patient with those changes, because you'll have a little mix of handler reset with a cut. Handler reset, cut. Okay. Now, if both happen at the same time, there's a handler reset and you're cutting. Notice how that's poor cut timing. Okay. Recognize whenever it's around stall 4, cutters can take a little bit of a chill. Because that's a good time for 1 to be looking at 2 for a handler reset. And then 1 should be looking at 2 the whole time during that reset. If 2 does not get open, 3 is going to fill. I want 1 to be looking at that fill. If the fill is not open, 1 is going to launch down the field. Okay? Notice how 1 during that whole handler reset is not looking at any cutter. Okay? I don't want them to. And I want cutters to recognize when that's happening. I don't want you guys to tire yourself out, you know, running awesome cuts, but the handler's just not even looking at you. Alright? I want you to literally force the handler to make a dump throw. If they start yelling at you, cuts, cuts, you know, that's a good time for them to just turn around and dump it. Okay, if you have time to scream cuts, you have time to turn your ass around and start dumping it. Because give and goes are incredibly powerful, and it helps really churn the good continuation cuts. Alright, but that's about all I got. Enough of me bantering for an hour. I hope this was helpful for you guys that need it. This just about concludes all of the vert stack sort of advanced things we'll go over. But notice how the foundation is the basic stuff. But don't forget the foundations. The next few little demos I will do will pertain to the host stack. And personally, I like the host stack better. I'm a big fan of it because I don't like running around a lot. Vert stack tires me out a little bit. And I like host stack and how it's sort of designed. It's very powerful when it's windy. Okay. So I'll be extra excited for a host stack, get you guys to see that. And hopefully practicing host stack will start sometime within the next couple of weeks. That'll be a good time to introduce you guys to some advanced things with host stack, even though host stack's a bit more confusing. But notice how vert stack was very simple, and I made it complicated on purpose, just from my own creative thoughts, you know. Alrighty. Everyone have a good night. Thank you for watching. If you like it, like it. If you hated it, dislike the shit out of it. Leave a comment if you're confused about something, or if I made a mistake. And subscribe. Poison_Javi. Alright, gentlemen. Have a good night.